The largest power company in the state of Alabama has purchased their own news website to help spread propaganda and to downplay the health risks of the toxins that they're dumping in the state. This is such a crazy story. Okay, first of all, you have to start off with the analysis. What's the heart of this story? The heart is LA Times, layoffs, going out of business. Washington Post, barely hanging on, but for Bezos owns it. He's got more money than 10 nations, he can keep it alive. Vice News, under. Sports Illustrated. So there's layoffs. Thousands of journalists are being laid off. We've already been, for the last 20 years, there's been no such thing as investigative journalism. It doesn't exist. They can't afford it. They don't want to pay an investigative reporter to go study anything. And so this is the state of the American media right now. Now, add to that, you've got a utility company, one of the biggest utility companies in the nation, in one of the poorest states in the nation, with the highest bills in the nation, that they own the news in Alabama. Is that an overstatement?
No, and in fact, they've gone to the next step of, originally, what they could do is they could do all the advertising on the local channels. They get in good, they know these people, they can get the favorable coverage they want. But Alabama Power decided to take it a step further. You know what? Because of the internet, anybody can run a news website. So they said, let's just build our own news website where we put out what they call the good news, because we don't want to focus on the bad in Alabama. Yeah. They want to focus on good things. And all of the good things are about how amazing Alabama Power is, even as they just made an agreement where they're now allowed to import coal ash toxins from other states and dump them into the poor communities in Alabama. But that's a good thing.
Well, okay, residents of the 7th poorest state in all of America have the most expensive monthly electric bills in the United States, topping $700 a month. Now, these are people barely hanging on. But the story really started where these people said, Alabama Power and Light, you're killing us. You have this dust that's causing lung disease, it's causing neuropathies, it's causing really health problems for our children, it's giving our children, asthma. And would you do something about it? It's got mercury, it's got arsenic, it's got cadmium in it. And they said, nah, I don't think we're going to do anything about it. I think we're just going to make it sound good. We're going to give you some good news. What you just said is literally the words they used. That is that we're buying the News Center operation. That's what it's called, News Center operation. And it's entirely paid for by the electricity customers. You understand? They're charging these customers that are complaining, you're killing us with the environmental disaster you've caused, and you're killing us because we can't afford to pay for this. But then they have those same customers paying for this thing, this called the News Center operation, which is supposed to be good news. We're only going to report good news, right?
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
Absolutely. And a lot of times, well, in the past, I guess, these corporations, what they would do is instead of buying their own news website, they would send money to think tanks or industry front groups. And those front groups would be the ones that would run these websites and do these, phony studies saying that, climate change isn't real, or these chemicals, they're giving you cancer, but they sure taste good.
Yeah.
They would give it to these other companies that would then do it. But Alabama Power decided to streamline the process. We'll cut out the middleman. We don't have to send, $20 million to this think tank. We can spend $1 million and fund this website for 5 years.
You understand that they're actually writing the news stories?
Yes.
They're writing the news stories, and then they'll send it to something like this is doubly bad, the Birmingham Times. The Birmingham Times historically, all the way back to 1964, has been an avenue that African Americans in Alabama would rely on because it would give them the news that affects them. Not anymore. Now these stories are created by the Birmingham Times, and sometimes written by the power company. And then they're just passed on, the good news is passed on that, hey, you're really not going to die of this stuff, it's okay. Or, hey, your costs are going up a little bit, but we have to do that so we can bring you better service. It's the sickest damn story. And it's the poorest state in the union in some of the poorest counties within that poor state. And nobody's doing anything. Have you seen the story anywhere?
No, this is the first time I've seen it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah. So the truth is, this is one of the dirtiest power plants in the country, and nobody's paying attention to this.
No, and what this is really is this is a blueprint for other corporations to start doing the same thing. You know, Exxon is not going to have to send money to all these think tanks to write their stories. Hey, let's start our own Exxon News website. And just like Alabama Power, and Pfizer could do it, Merck could do it, DuPont could do it. But what they do is they get their news site certified. And once they get it certified through Google News, through all the other news services, whatever, it then becomes legitimate. So it goes into the PR news wires. Once you get it in the news wire, you can get it published anywhere in the country.
Now, you understand that this is the other part of it. I'm making this up. The employees for the Alabama Power Plant Company, they're the people that are going to work for the news sources. Do you understand that? They're saying, okay, I can give you a better job. You're only making $25 an hour. How about you go to work for our news origination source and you're going to make more money. And then you have the folks that are actually printing this stuff. Birmingham Times, for example, his quote is that, we got a small staff. It's hard to cover these studies. The editorial is hard. How do we make decisions about it? And the point is this. They're owned and operated now. All these news sources are owned and operated in Alabama by this company. And there's no way to break through.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff Bezos is going to look like an idiot paying billions for the Washington Post when he could have just started his own little website and accomplished the same thing. But, it does worry me with all these journalists that are getting laid off. They need jobs, and some of them are going to say, listen, I know it's horrible, but I got to go work for, Alabama Power News because I've got nothing else. That's what's so scary is if they get legitimate journalists to start putting their names on stuff, it's all over.
The question is, how many legitimate journalists are around? This is the kind of thing you read. This is in Guardian, but this is what you read in maybe The Lever or The Guardian, or where they still have investigative journalists.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a real journalism entity. In the United States, everything from CNBC to CNN to MS, these aren't journalism organizations. They don't have, all they do, they're talking heads. If you want to move into the journalism business, just practice in front of a camera. Can you read a teleprompter? Can you show up to work on time and read a teleprompter? Because it's all going to be spoon-fed to you anyway by management. Yeah. That's what's happened both to CNN and MSNBC and Fox. These are places where they show up at work and they say, this is the angle we want to take today. We want to go after this politician. We want to talk about this issue, and this is what you must talk to. I remember when I did, Ed Schultz used to have me on a show often, and I remember when we started talking about TPP, and management came unglued, man. They came unglued because it tied into Hillary Clinton being a bad candidate, tied into TPP being a threat to American workers.
Comcast, who was buying them at the time.
Exactly. Comcast didn't like it.
I mean, Ed, just so everybody knows, Ed was down here in Pensacola having this conversation with us in person. These are real things.
This is really happening to me. I can't tell the story. And the talking heads that will go along with it, here, Joe, how about reading this? Read the teleprompter. We'll worry about what you're going to say. That's not journalism. There's no investigation into it. There's not even a deep understanding of the story most of the time.